It's been a little hiatus.
Yeah, not too bad. But here we are,
Yeah.
and we have a great
Yeah.
guest today, and I'm
Yeah.
excited to talk about something that is very close
Near
to
and
home.
dear to our hearts,
Yes,
unfortunately.
yes.
Yes. But let's just catch up.
Okay.
So I was talking to someone today that I'm actually going to introduce to our guest after this recording.
Mm,
And she's like, "Well, what's your passion project?" And I'm like, the To Get Her To podcast is my passion project.
right, right.
It's not monetized. It's
Nope.
all about we're here together as women
Hmm.
and we're going through life like everyone else is going through life. There's some really great things and sometimes there's really
Hmm.
tough things.
Hmm.
And you and I have kind of been moving through some different,
Yeah, yeah,
health things a little bit. I've
yeah.
got I've got a boot. I'm
She's
out of
got
my
the boot. Uh-huh.
cast.
I've got some autoimmune stuff going on, and
Yeah,
and that's yes. But I mean, it's all good, right? We're
it's
not
all good.
victims of our
We're not
circumstances.
victims.
We play on, play through,
You
as they
play
say.
through, but I was telling you before, now I can walk
Yep.
and I have been on my ass for 7
Yep.
weeks. And so now I'm getting out, but then I'm like exhausted. I'm not used to the
Yep.
day in and day out.
Yep.
And so I have to give myself grace and keep moving forward at the
Yes.
same
So
time.
I love this. So giving grace and moving forward is an amazing segue into our topic today,
Oh, let's do
which
it.
is everything divorce, which is not
Yeah.
what we ever set out to do when we get married. And
Yes,
I
never.
doubt anyone ever gets married to get divorced. But it happens. It's happened to me twice. It is part of who I am now because I've
All right, now here we go. Updating, updating or upgrading, updating, I think. Close everything else
yeah,
out, yeah.
exactly.
And I'm gonna close my Wi-Fi off. I'll tell Lon. Maybe she's watching something. Oh my God.
Okay, we got kicked out.
Are you there, Karen?
Jeez.
Hey, babe.
Yeah.
Are you watching a show or anything?
No, I'm listening in my headphones.
Okay, because we just got kicked off Wi-Fi yeah, Wi-Fi with our podcast.
Oh,
So
odd.
I was gonna see, do you mind, like the call just ended?
What is happening here? Holy shit.
Can you go off Wi-Fi? Okay, thanks, babe. Bye.
That's so weird.
It's okay. It's not you. I don't know what the deal is, obviously. It just really drives me crazy. Oh shit, I'm calling Amanda. Sorry.
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay, we don't know what's going on. Serious technical difficulties. Her Wi-Fi, I think, got glitchy, but then even her phone shut down on her. It's something really weird's going on. So maybe there's divorce spirits in the house. Maybe our
Sorry
exes
about
are
that.
coming
I
back to haunt us
think
or something.
Butt dial.
I
Butt
think
dial. Call you back.
Mercury is retrograde.
I think you're right.
Oh,
I
there
think
you
you're
go.
right.
There you go.
So we're
That
just
explains a
gonna
lot.
we're gonna just start with your introduction, and we'll have Reese clip it.
Okay, perfect. Because we
Yeah.
still have it, you
Yes,
think?
Yes.
Okay,
I think so.
perfect. Awesome.
Okay.
Okay, so met Karen through the Dames group, and the Dames is a group of badass women
Mm-hmm.
who are all there supporting each other, sharing their resources, and uplifting them to the next level.
Awesome.
And I've
Love
loved
that.
it.
Love
And so
that.
these are people all over the nation and outside of the states.
Right.
So it's really been an amazing group.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Karen, we met and had a little connection call, and I went on her podcast and just loved her. I can't wait to have her tell us about how she got started and where she is, because she's a divorce attorney. Recovering now. Recovering. Like a recovering Catholic. And so we're going to hear more about her. And now she coaches people through the divorce process with that attorney mind, but a therapist heart. And I love that tagline. I love it. It just says it all. I wish I could explain my business just in 4 words and everybody knew.
Yeah, that's
So
great.
anyway, so Karen, welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you. It is wonderful to be here.
Well, it's taken mountains to make this happen, but we're here. We're here. So, okay, tell us your time as an attorney, and do you still practice, and how you got to this place?
Okay. My time as an attorney has been very long, but I started out with a big firm, then I went to the government, and then I opened up my own practice. And I said, I will take any kind of case there is except divorce.
Oh, really?
And you know what they say, when you make plans, God or the universe, or whatever you call the power that is, laughs. Somebody was laughing at me because client after client kept coming in saying, hey, Karen, can you help me with my divorce? Hey, Karen, do you know a good divorce attorney? And finally, I was literally in my office. I went, okay, I got it. I'll do divorce.
That is so funny. Never say never. Never say never that you're never going to have a minivan, and guess what? You're going to get one.
Oh, yeah. The mom-mobile.
So when did you take on divorces then? How far into your career was it?
Well, I had already been a lawyer for a decade before I opened my own practice. So I was a decade in. So I went to divorce, and I was a trial lawyer. I was like, put 12 in a box and let's rock and roll. And I tried,
Yeah.
I told you, badass.
Uh-huh.
I went into divorce court. And I looked around. Well, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I mean, I was a lawyer, and it didn't make sense to me.
Wow.
Interesting.
So I said from the beginning, right out of the gate, there's got to be a better way. And so almost immediately, I became a mediator. I became a collaborative divorce professional. I became an arbitrator. I kept looking for that proverbial better way, right?
Gotcha.
Because the system that I saw, like, it's one thing to rip someone's face off in cross-examination when they did like something really horrible.
Yes.
But when it's your spouse and you got to go sit next to them at your kid's soccer game, there is no universe in which that makes sense. Like zero.
Oh, I love that.
So I said, okay, let me find the better way. And everything was better, but it wasn't really great. And finally, one day I was in my office and I always just wanted to have my own solo practice, right? So I was in my office. It was hot. The door was open. My secretary, who had worked previously for all the big divorce law firms in town, she was sitting at her desk outside the door. I do my thing. Client leaves. I come out and she goes, nobody else does that, right? And I was like,
Oh,
Yeah, it does
she
not.
said, well, you just sat down and
consult
you told
the
them,
therapy.
here's mediation, here's arbitration, here's collaboration,
Right.
here's like all the things, and you can do this and you can do this, and here are your choices, and what do you want to do? And I said, well, if they're not doing that, what are they doing? And she said, here's a contract, sign here. And I was horrified because it's not my life. Yes, this is my area of expertise. Yes, my job and goal is to
Right.
guide and advise you, but I can't decide for you. That's not right. I don't think.
Right.
Well, I realize that not all of my colleagues have a similar viewpoint as I do. And I also realized that as one person, I am not going to change the divorce system across the country,
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
but I can change it for my clients.
Nice.
That's what I started to do. I started to lean more heavily into the coaching, thinking initially I could do both, but it wasn't possible. I mean,
It wasn't.
Right.
it just,
Yeah.
law is too demanding. It's too last minute.
Oh,
I can
that's
have
right.
an entire day planned tomorrow with coaching calls. 5 o'clock
Right.
today, I get a notice of emergency motion, and there goes my day.
Right.
Right?
That's
You
right.
don't
We
get
talked
just
about that.
it.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. You can't do well. So do you do 100% then this type of work and you've let the lawyer go, or do you still do some
I'd
law
say it's,
stuff?
yeah, I'd say it's probably 90 to 95% coaching. What
Yeah.
I will do for clients now, I won't take a case and actively represent someone now because it took me 3 years to work out of my practice.
Yeah.
Everybody says, "Oh, you know what? This one's going to be easy. We agree on everything. It'll only take a couple of months." And I'm like, "Yeah,
Did you say that? I said that.
yeah,
Yeah.
everybody says that. That's what
Everyone says
everybody
that.
wants to believe, and it
Yeah.
sometimes works out that way. Most of the
Right.
time, it does not. So
Yeah.
what I do for clients in the state of Illinois, because I'm only licensed in Illinois, is if you come to me midway through your divorce and you're like, I don't know if my lawyer has my back. Okay, give me all the paperwork, give me all the stuff. We'll sit down, we'll talk. I'll look at it all, and I will tell you, I will give you a completely independent opinion because I'm not taking your case no matter what.
Right.
Right? So because
Right.
the problem with getting like a second opinion from another lawyer is you're never sure whether they're being totally honest with you
Right.
or just trying to get your business.
Right. But you're not getting it. Right. So they have that opinion. And for so many women, how is it mostly women that you work with, Karen?
I break out about 60-40, 60% women, 40% men.
Okay. So for a lot of us going through the divorce the first time, we don't know the options and the things to ask and the things to do and if we're getting screwed or if we're not. And I had an arbitrator. We were going through a mediation and she was an attorney and she was horrible. She did zero. And I gave her a retainer and then she gave me another bill for another, amount of money. And I said, I don't like to do bad reviews. I'm a business owner. But if I see this invoice again, you did nothing. The morning of our arbitration, it was 8:30 in the morning and I was calling her at 7:30. She had not contacted me. There was no prep. There was no game plan. There was nothing. So
And that makes me completely crazy because, look, for a lawyer, this is like, rolling out of bed in the morning. You do it all the time. You know how it's going to go. You're not
Right.
like super nervous. But what they forget is it's the client's life.
Yeah.
Like I might know that tomorrow's court hearing is just a status call and nothing's going to happen, but you're not sleeping tonight because
No.
you don't know that and you can't be sure of that and you're nervous about this or that or the other thing. And lawyers across the board, across the country, prepare at the last minute. They're busy, they're overbooked.
yeah.
Totally
And
makes
so
Yeah. Yeah.
what happened to you is not at all uncommon. I had a client, for example, who called me up and she was terrified because she was on disability, completely reliant on her husband's income. They were going through a divorce. Alimony maintenance, whatever you call it in the state that you're in, was super important to her, and the property division was super important to her, right? And so she and her husband would not negotiate. Like, period, full stop, we're going to trial.
Wow.
And so she called her lawyer, and she's like, I'm really nervous. Can we start to prepare? And the lawyer's like, yeah, don't worry. We'll get ready. Well, this was about, I'd say, 2 months before trial. She reaches out to me and said, will you help me prepare for trial? And I said, of course. I mean, I do that for, any one of my clients who wants it, right? How do you testify? How do you answer questions? What do you say? What do you not say? Like, that's what I do, or a big part of what I do. So I said, sure, no problem. But it would be better if your lawyer and I were on the same page.
Yeah.
So if I could talk to her, that would be great. If not, that's fine.
Right.
So she said, let me ask. She went to her lawyer, and her lawyer said, what? What a big waste of money. You don't need a divorce coach. I will prepare you for trial. This is ridiculous. So she comes back to me and she's like, I don't know what to do. And I said, well, you have to make a decision. I will work with you behind the scenes either way. It would have been better if the lawyer was on board.
Yeah, for
But if she's not, that doesn't mean that you're just screwed, right?
Right. Right.
If you want me to work with you, I will. And she said, okay, fine. We worked for 2 months to get her prepped, to get her ready for trial, so she knew what to expect, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, I said, your lawyer is going to prepare you the day before the hearing. And she's like, no, it has to be. And I said, you watch. Sure enough, trial date came. The day before was when her lawyer started to prepare her. Well, she was already prepared. And she walked in the courtroom that day like she owned it. Because she was all ready. She had her ducks in a row, her documents in order. She knew what to say. She knew how to act. She knew all the things. And guess what? He took one look at her and he settled.
Wow.
Now, he would not have done that if she walked in like, oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
Right.
Totally.
Right.
So, Karen, what would you say to women who may be younger, less experienced in life, who are in that similar situation where maybe they don't have the income generated from a full-time job, and they made an agreement as a partnership for her to raise the kids and stay at home. I mean, it happens a lot.
All the time.
And now she's in this situation where she doesn't know how she's going to afford the bills once he leaves or she has to move out. What would be your best piece of advice to women who feel stuck?
Knowledge is power. And so if you can get, like, what I help do for my clients is empower them, because it's learning life skills in the context of a divorce, but you keep using them moving forward. So does she have access to their financial data, her financial data, right? Can she make a budget and a balance sheet? I can help her do that. Look at what can you afford, what can't you afford. Going through a divorce takes a team, right? And everybody says you need a CDFA, a financial advisor, and this and that. And yes, in a perfect world, that'd be great if you could have one. But first, you need somebody to say, what am I dealing with? What can I afford?
Right.
Do I really need a full-on financial advisor to look at what could be a very simple financial situation? Or am I trying to do on my own what's a very complicated situation, right? They don't know one way or the other. So it's about figuring out what's your next step, who do you need on your team? And if I'm doing my job as a coach, your lawyer's making less money. Because I'm teaching you, this is how you use your lawyer. This is how you ask questions. This is how you get data. This is what you can do yourself and bring to them, so you're not paying them to do it, right?
Wow.
And so, but it's, if you use the right professional in the right capacity, you go through this not only in a much smoother fashion, but it's less expensive and less time consuming.
Yeah, absolutely. So another situation that a friend of ours brought up. So she is seeing this happen, and the gal, my wax gal, is also having this issue. You know, we talk about things on the table. They're dragging the divorce on and on. Their spouse is dragging it on. They don't want it, but it's over. It's done. Sometimes not leaving the house, but just like, there's a court date and everything's in line. And then they're like, well, I'm out of town for a business thing here. and they just keep dragging it on and on. What can you do in that situation?
That's a bad situation to be in, but it's not uncommon, unfortunately.
Okay.
And a lot has to do with the judge of who's the judge in your case. Because if the judge allows anybody to keep kicking the can down the road, continue the court date, you're stuck. But all you can do as a person is keep the pressure on. I want a court date. I want I want not just a court date.
Squeaky
You
wheel.
want a trial date. You want to set it for trial. It could be set for a hearing for this, that, or the other thing. That's great. When are we going to trial? Because at trial, the judge, if you can't make a decision beforehand, the judge will make it for you after a trial. So that's what
Okay.
you're going for. And the truth is 90% plus, maybe 95% of all divorce cases settle. And they can settle literally on the courthouse steps. I used to settle cases in the hallway before the trial
Really?
all the time.
So
Because
this, oh my gosh. So this example you told us about,
Mhm.
where was that settled? Was that
in the
settled
courthouse,
before the
in
court,
the
before
courthouse,
the hearings
before the trial.
trials?
Most
Wow.
judges, what most judges will do too is look, they don't want to have to try a case like this because first of all, they've got plenty of cases to try. And
Yeah.
second of all, if you can make a decision, that's always going to be better for you. And they know that, right? So when you first go to trial, most of the time, and it might vary, from judge to judge, but the judge, the lawyers come in, they sit down and the judge is like, okay, are we ready? What's this case about? Fill me in, blah, blah, blah. And the judge is going to look at the lawyers and look at the people and say, can you settle this? And because if you can settle this, take 30 minutes right now, go out in the hallway and see what you can do. And that'll save me a full day of trial, and it'll save you a full day of trial. But
Wow.
if they can't, then the judge will say, okay, enough
Yeah.
monkey business, let's rock and roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you got a question?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Another question that came up was judges freezing your bank accounts after you've actually I'm not doing lawyer speak, but after you put the divorce in, it's in process, separation has happened, freezing funds, and then you didn't separate any funds out, and now you're stuck. You have no income. Does this
Yeah.
happen a lot?
It does, but it happens in certain instances, but you are supposed to get notice of it. Right? Somebody filed a motion for it. Now, there are some, like, for example, in Illinois, there used to be a law that it was an automatic freeze, and then the legislators and the judges realized, like, that wasn't the best idea, and that's
Right.
sort of
Yeah.
went by the wayside. I can't speak to every state, right? So
Right.
theoretically, it would be your spouse or their lawyer who would file a motion to freeze everything for some reason. There's got to be a reason to do that, right?
Okay, right.
There was some monkey business, or there's missing money, or somebody took
Right.
something. So, there's supposed to be a reason. But once that freeze is in effect, then if you don't have enough money to, say, for instance, pay your bills or run your business, then it's up to you to go back to your lawyer and say, you got to get this order modified so that we can have, because a lot of times what the judge will do is they'll freeze everything, and then the other side will say, wait, I can't run my business. And so the judge will make an exception for the operating fund for the business or normal expenses or blah, blah, blah. They'll work it out because they want you making money, because if you're not making money, you can't pay for anything.
Right.
Right. Right.
The
Exactly.
lawyers.
So it sounds like a lot of this comes down to sometimes the judge, which we
lot
don't
of
have a lot of control of. Or is there no control?
No
No
control at all.
control. Just
Which is
recon.
why I say to people, stay out of court.
Yes.
If you never go to the judge in the first place, then you don't have to worry about what are they going to do.
Yeah.
And judges fundamentally, I mean, they do the best they can, but they're
Right.
as human as everybody else.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm
Really?
guessing you've seen in all your years' experience the spouses who just won't let it go.
Yes.
And they want the good fight just to prove
Yep.
that they can have the
Usually-
upper hand.
Usually they want the good fight till they get the big bill.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And so that actually is an incentive for people when they get the bill to say, okay, this is stupid. The
Mhm.
bigger issue is when you've got people who've got a lot of money and they
Right.
don't care about the big
They
lawyer.
don't
That's
care.
right.
Big bill. Yeah.
That's right.
Now, and I've had an experience, unfortunately, a couple times where there's emotions involved, of course, right? And they're heavy, and we think we were going into it amicable, but then emotions come up and brings up triggers. And then we kind of just said, you know what? Let's just take a pause. And it was around this time a year, let's just get through the holidays. Let's
Mhm.
take a pause and come back to it. And the other relationship I was in, we weren't married, but we had to settle. And he was, being very not nice. And I was like, do you want to work through this, or do you want to just have a war? And he was kind of, back talking and all kinds of stuff. And I just said to myself, you know what? This is him triggered. And I'm not going to respond for 2 or 3 weeks. I'm just going to let the dust settle. And that tactic seemed to work in that situation, because he came around and he's like, okay, I'm in the right heart space. I'm ready to go through this.
Good. I mean, that actually makes a lot of sense because physiologically what happens when somebody's triggered, when they're upset, emotional, like all your stress hormones, fire. They're flooding your body and they're flooding your brain. And when your
right.
brain is flooded with stress hormones, you literally can't think.
Cannot.
Your prefrontal cortex goes offline. It shuts down. And
Yeah.
so you're making decisions from an emotional place, or you're reacting from an emotional place instead of acting with intentionality and purpose, which is what you want to do.
And
So,
resourcefulness, and,
Yeah.
being open to
Yep.
different perspectives. And yeah.
100%. So taking a break was actually a really brilliant thing to do because that gives people enough time to calm down.
Yep.
And when they calm down and they can just let those stress hormones flood out of their brain,
Yeah.
then they can start acting rationally and saying, okay, this is really stupid. This is not helpful. Let's start again. Let me get in the right heart space, as he put it. I
Yeah.
think you did great.
What would you say? You made mention to this earlier of people who are kind of stuck in their marriages.
Yes.
And divorce is front of mind, but maybe they haven't had the conversation. Maybe they're afraid to bring it up, but they know this is not a healthy partnership anymore. They know that they're not living their best life or even close to it. Maybe it's even an abusive relationship and it's scary, right? And it's based on fear of what happens if I try to leave. Oh, what advice do you have, again, particularly for women who may not think they have the resources
Yeah. They're golden
to
handcuffs.
leave?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to separate out the domestic violence issues because
Yeah.
if your physical safety or the safety of your children or your pets is being threatened, in my humble opinion, you just got to get out. Like nothing else matters. If you're dead, you don't care about the money or you don't care about
Right.
anything else. So you've got
Right.
to take steps to ensure your physical safety. That having been said, that's an extremely difficult situation to get out of.
Yes, it is.
Just statistically, women get out, come back multiple times. And the most volatile times are when you're just leaving or when you're filing, right? Or at the very end. Those tend to be the really hot times in a domestic violence situation. If any of your listeners are in that situation or you know someone in that situation, you got to get help. You cannot do it
That looks
alone.
like-
Go to a domestic violence shelter, talk to a counselor, and for that person more than anyone else, you need to pre-plan. You got to get your ducks in a row because once
Yeah.
you get out, you're not going. You
You're
don't
not
want
going back. Mm-hmm.
So what if they don't have access to their financials? What if the spouse has the passwords and the usernames to all of their bank accounts? What if they don't know and can't see? What then?
Um, Again, it comes down to planning. You've got to decide um, if you're willing to go no matter what. Right.
Right.
I don't know, like you, if you're in that situation, you can say, I don't know how much money we have. I don't know what, but I know I've got to get out of this and I'll start figuring it out.
Yep.
You can use the court process and the court system to send subpoenas to banks, to ask your spouse for financial documentation and information. Is that the best way to do it? No, it's expensive. It takes a long time, and people play games with that all the time. But that's why it's better if you can get the financial information on the front end. That's always a better thing. But if you can't let that hold up your life forever, right? You're going to be stuck because he won't give you passwords. That's silly.
Right.
Right?
Right.
You do what you've got to do. You make your plan. And I know I had a story of a woman, she was on my podcast a couple years ago, and she was in an abusive situation. And he was financially abusive to the point her credit score was 0.
Oh God.
He didn't exist. He never let her have a credit card or a bank account or like nothing. So as far as the credit bureaus were concerned, she was a non-existent person. And she was a stay-at-home mom and she raised the kids. And so what she would do was scrape a little money off the side whenever she could.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Get cash back from the thing,
Yeah.
buy, credit, the debit cards. Oh, what a sweetie.
This is Gunner, and Gunner loves Mindy.
Well, and
Oh
he
my goodness.
he apparently likes to talk about divorce too.
And he likes to be the star of the show in the middle of the podcast.
Well, he certainly is. But so this woman over the years, like she decided and knew she was going to go, but she wanted to wait till her youngest was 18 because she was afraid for them too.
Yes.
So she just for a decade, she'd save a couple dollars here, a couple
That's
dollars there.
it.
By the time she moved out, she had 30 grand.
There you go. There you go.
Wow. And so
You
the
can do
moral of
it.
the story there is for all the women, you should know your finances. You should know the passwords. A lot of us I know are like, I don't want to know. Just tell me we're okay. And I don't want to know the finances.
Unfortunately, that's true.
But you have to get involved. You have to know that stuff.
Well,
even if somebody passes, like it's a
Yeah.
nightmare.
No, right.
Everyone, knowledge is power, to your point, Karen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is the thing that you think helps people the most? Advice you give people going through this, process or decision to divorce? What's the thing people are like, oh, wow, that just made the difference to me? What's the best advice you give usually?
I think it's been what we've been talking about
Okay.
is preparation and planning.
Yes.
And
Okay.
it sounds horrible. Like you plan your divorce. Oh my gosh, how long have you been planning? It sounds really cold and calculated.
Yeah, exactly.
Most people spend at least a year planning their wedding.
Yeah.
To
Oh,
think
good
that
point.
you don't have to plan your
Very
divorce
true.
is being a little bit naive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
And it doesn't mean that you have to plan to screw your spouse. That's not what I'm
No.
talking about. But you have your financial documents if you can get them. You've got the passwords. You've got, a credit score. You know where you're at that way. Sometimes maybe you can't afford to get divorced right now because your spouse is the primary or maybe the only breadwinner and there's just not going to be enough money to go around. Well, maybe part of your planning is you go out and get a part-time job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you find a way to get yourself on your feet financially. So there's a lot that goes into planning. But if you are willing to put some time into planning and not wait until you're so angry and resentful of your spouse that you just want to like punch his lights out and be
Yeah.
done,
Yeah.
right?
We don't want to get to that point.
You don't want to get to that point.
Can be
You
very
wanna
bad.
start early and make a plan. And what I've found in my own life and for my clients is that if you know what you want to do and you're clear on what you want to do, even if you can't do it today,
Yeah.
but you have a plan for I'm going to get there. It's like losing weight, right? I wish so much that we could just like wave the magic wand and boom, all the weight's gone instantly, and then you diet to do it later. You know, it's like
Yeah.
I'll do all the hard work, but I just want the result right away.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
Right.
it doesn't work that way in dieting or anything else. So it's about putting the plan in place, putting in the reps at the gym, doing all the things, and then you get the result at the end. This is no different.
Yep. I love
Yeah.
that. I would love to hear your experience with people going through this who are so afraid to pull the plug because of pride or I'm embarrassed,
Shame.
shame, feeling like it's
Guilt.
their fault, not wanting the kids to go through
The
it.
kids.
Right? All of the things that make us second guess our
The kids.
self in taking that next step to be happier.
Is there a good time to have a divorce?
Yeah.
There's never a good time to do a hard thing.
Nope.
It's always going to be hard. And people who
Yeah.
say they wait until their kids are 18, that's a thing that a lot of parents do. Sometimes, like the story I just told, it makes sense. But
Yeah.
a lot of times it doesn't, because here's the problem. Your youngest child turns 18, goes off to college. 3 months later, you call them up, or 2 months later, you say, hey, we're getting a divorce. Do you think your child is stupid? Do you think they
Right.
didn't figure out that mom and dad were suffering because of me? That's the interpretation. And so
Yeah.
they, then they feel guilty and they feel bad, and they look back at their life and say, was my whole childhood a lie?
Yep.
How long were you putting up a front, and what was real and what wasn't? And their trust in you, in themselves, in relationships in general, like it all goes right out the window.
I've got a
right?
couple friends who that happened to, and
Yeah.
they feel exactly that
Really?
way. Yes.
Really? They were the kid.
Oh, yes.
Wow, that's really interesting. Because I was thinking more in the realm of, you're in this relationship that's not good. You're giving your kids an example of a relationship that is not good.
Yeah.
Too.
There's possibly fighting going
Mhm.
on. That's not healthy for your kids
Or
either.
no fighting at all.
Or no fighting.
And just pushing things under the rug
yeah.
Yeah.
to pacify situations.
Yeah. I mean,
right?
like you're
There's that too.
teaching your kids.
Yeah.
Kids don't learn by what you say, they learn by what you do and what they see. And so you want to think that you're trying to keep everything calm and peaceful for them.
Right.
But what you're really teaching them is that their feelings don't matter, that in a relationship, it's okay to,
Be walked
not tell
on,
the
or-
truth and be walked on, or, have whatever the bad situation is that you're dealing with, that
Yeah.
you would never want to wish on them. So here's the question for somebody who's hesitant to get a divorce because of the kids. Here's the question that I like to ask them.
All right. I want to know, what is it?
If this situation that you're in, if that was your child, what would you tell them to do?
Yeah, that's a great one.
Because most parents are not going to say to their kid, oh yeah, stay in a really bad relationship.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
It's
Some of
okay.
them will,
You know?
but not all. Yeah.
And so it's like to put themselves in to think of their children in a different way. Would they want this relationship for their children? If the answer is no, then why are you doing it to yourself?
Yeah. Yeah. I remember
Yeah.
my first divorce. I was just a mess because I was the only one in the entire family, extended and immediate, who, was even thinking about going through a divorce. So I felt like the failure. And I remember calling my mom and just crying. And she's a straight shooter. And she finally said, "Are you done?" And I said, "I think so." And she goes, "Good, because you're the only one of the family who's getting divorced. You know how many of us should have been divorced by now?"
Oh, love that.
And boy, did that set me straight. And I'm like, I can
Wow.
do this. Okay.
So,
It was
yeah.
like giving me that permission
right.
to
Right.
do something other people just weren't ready or couldn't do themselves.
Or didn't have the courage.
Or
which,
didn't have the courage.
Which makes me think, like, it's like choose your hard. Like you said, divorce is going to be hard.
No matter what.
Choose your hard. Are
Yeah.
you going to be living in a loveless marriage where you're not living your best life, you know it, and the years are passing you by? Or are you going to go through 2 years of hardship and rebuild yourself?
Yep.
And I feel like, and I said this on your podcast a lot, and I had an interesting situation with Jim's disability, but I felt horrible about it. And it took a lot of freaking courage
Oh
to
yeah.
make that decision and
sure.
to not turn my head on something that I saw so clearly and knew that that chapter had closed. And a lot of us turn our head and just sit in it. And maybe we feel like we have golden handcuffs or we don't want to disappoint people
Yeah,
when
for
we're
sure.
disappointing
For
ourselves
sure.
and showing our kids something. And so for the women who do make the decision to go through it, it takes a lot of courage.
100%. It's really hard. And especially, you talk about golden handcuffs. Let's just talk reality. Whatever money you're using to support a family, when you get a divorce, that family breaks into two households.
Right.
Now, the same amount of money is
That's
going
right.
to be, having to pay bills for two households. So everybody's standard of living is going to take a hit for a while.
Yeah.
But the question is, what's your personal happiness worth?
That's
What's
right.
the happiness of your kids worth? And the longer you stay in a marriage that you know isn't working,
Yeah.
the more of your life that you waste.
You
I mean, you sure,
lose.
one thing is for sure, we all want love. We all want connection. We all want a partner
Right.
that we can count on. If you do not have that, and you're in the but you stay married, you're never going to have it unless something
point.
changes in the marriage, right?
Yeah.
By
Good
getting
point.
divorced, to your point, Natalie, you may go through 2 years of hell, but on the other side of that, now you have an opportunity to have the life that you want.
That's
And
right.
let me be clear. I mean, if you're not sure whether your marriage can be fixed, well, 100% go look into that first.
Yeah.
Because
First. Right.
divorce
course.
is no, barrel of laughs, right?
No.
You don't
No.
want to do it if you don't have to. So sometimes putting in the hard work into the marriage is your bet. That's what you should do. It's the best thing you can do. But if you've done that, if you tried that and it just hasn't worked, and you know in your gut,
You know in your gut. Yes.
that this isn't going to work, then the most people say, do people regret their divorce afterwards? And the truth is, a very small percentage of them, a few, do. But most people, their biggest regret is, I wish I would have done it sooner.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
I know that's mine.
Yeah. Really. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
Both.
Both.
Both
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
I probably filed 3 years after I should have. At least,
Wow.
if not earlier than
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I saw the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
Well,
But again, I didn't want to be, especially your second one then.
You
You're
didn't wanna
oh, I'm
accept
just
it.
a big failure now.
right.
I can't keep anything going. And you beat yourself up. And I say to all women, especially who are listening, like, you will beat yourself up. Like, again, give yourself grace.
Find
You
a
know,
good
like,
therapist and a
you're
good
not-
friend
yeah,
and a
you're
good
not alone.
divorce coach. And
Right.
Yeah.
it takes a village.
Yeah.
And I think about what I went through, and I tell people, and I think I said it on your podcast, like, it was really freaking hard. And I lost things I didn't think I was going to lose, but I gained things I didn't think I
Yeah.
was going to gain. And I would do it again.
And that says it all.
Mm-hmm.
But
But
the
it's-
whole idea
yeah.
of being a failure, I'm sorry, but I take issue with that. And I know that's what our
Please do.
society
Yeah.
teaches.
Right.
I want to
people.
hear. Yeah.
Why are you a failure? Because one relationship didn't last till the day you died.
Yeah.
In what other context are you asked to make a promise, a pledge, when you're 20 or 30
That's right.
or however
Yeah.
old, that lasts for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
Oh my
New
God.
information comes in. You can never change your mind.
Right.
You can never change
Right.
the relationship. Like, you're
Yeah.
just stuck till death do you part.
Oh, by the way, you're going to change and evolve as a person
Yeah, and they may not with
5
you,
to 10 times
Yeah.
during that
but they may
span.
not, and you still have to stay
Yeah.
Right.
side by side.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
I-
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is
and
crazy.
just because the marriage, I'm using air quotes, failed,
Yeah.
that doesn't
Mhm.
mean you are a failure. It means that relationship just didn't last forever. It didn't fail. It made you, I bet you had some beautiful times together. You
Yeah,
wouldn't
for
have
sure.
gotten
For sure.
married if you didn't like the
Absolutely.
person, didn't love the person.
Yes.
Right? You had great times. You maybe had great kids from it. There was a lot of
House is
good.
remodeled.
Why does one day, one thing that
Yeah.
marriage can't go on the way it is, so we're going to end that? Why does that erase a lifetime of good?
Yeah. It's just a chapter ending. And for some people, like you said, there has to be good times in your marriage because you wouldn't have married him. And for Gemini, there was so many good times. It wasn't all bad. We started Pacific Perks together. We pivoted around his illness in incredible ways and taught our kids perseverance. It was just a chapter that needed to be closed. Yeah, but the first year or two, I had to talk myself through it daily, if not several
Oh
times
yeah.
a day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Karen, and now we only have a few more minutes, and I want to hear if you've seen any trends as of late that have kind of changed the course of how divorce is being handled. I mean, our world is changing; it's evolving faster than we can evolve. How has this evolution of social media and feeling disconnected from the world and political polarization and the pandemic, how has that affected trends in your world?
Wow. How much time do you have? So, all right. Trends in general. With people living longer these days, and COVID sort of spurred this on, there's a gray divorce revolution, right? There are more people, people say the divorce rate is rising. That's not true. The divorce rate actually has been going down since the 80s.
Oh, okay.
In every category except one, people over 50.
I
In
have
the
heard
people
that.
over 50 group, the divorce rate I think is doubled, and for over 60, it's tripled.
Oh my goodness.
So that's the only growing
And
divorce
why
rate,
is that?
because people are living longer and they get to that point in their life. The kids are grown and gone. They look at their spouse who they've grown apart from, and the relationship hasn't been good for a long time, but they could distract themselves with other things. And then all of a sudden they're looking at this person going, I don't know how much time I have left on the planet, but I know I don't want to spend it all with you.
Yeah.
And women in their 50s, that's the gift, and 60s is like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yep.
What have I been doing? And I'm not doing this anymore. And I really feel like women in their 40s, mid 40s, I know I was like, holy cow, I have been living a codependent relationship, me part of it. What? I can't do this anymore. We kind of like have this awakening.
Yep. 100%. And so that's sort of the biggest overall trend. COVID either made or broke your marriage.
Yeah.
You were stuck inside together, and you either had to deal with each other. And for some couples, it actually made their marriage better because they had to deal with all the garbage that they were sweeping under the rug.
Yep.
And for most couples, it was like, oh, I can't do this anymore,
Yes,
right?
yeah,
And they
yes.
became, and especially the people, like if one spouse was having an affair, COVID kind of put a cramp in their style.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But so
Yeah.
COVID did a lot in terms of forcing your hand one way or the other. Social media, that's a whole other discussion. That just opened
Right.
Pandora's box
Right.
in terms of, first of all, before 50 years ago, if you didn't see somebody you went to high school with again, of course you didn't. You didn't even know where. Now it's like, my marriage stuff's bored. Let me go on Facebook and look for my high school sweetheart. High school sweetheart, for Christ's sakes. But
What about your sixth
No.
grade sweetheart?
Oh my
you know,
God. You're
And-
kind of speaking to the choir a little bit here, but yes, that
so
is funny.
it gives you the opportunity to rekindle things that otherwise you might not have had,
Yeah.
right? And social media also is like a playground for divorce lawyers because people do stupid things and they post it on social media. My
Uh-huh.
personal
Mhm.
favorite, I had
Oh,
a case as a lawyer where I was
Oh my
representing the wife, and the husband was like, he was in the trades, and he was like, I can't work. I have a hip problem. You know, I need a hip replacement, and I can't work, and I don't have any money. And his kids were literally starving. Like she didn't have money to put food on the table. And she goes on he had blocked her on Facebook. Well, you can't block all her friends, the whole world. So one of her friends went and took screenshotted Facebook. He had gone to Colorado with his new girlfriend and climbed a mountain. The man who needed a hip replacement and couldn't work. You're like, really, dude? Really?
oh. Yeah. So it's outed people in lots of ways as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that is funny. And what would
Wow.
you say the average length of a divorce takes?
It depends if it's going to be amicable or not. COVID, another thing COVID did, I mean, courts were backed up to begin with, and COVID
Oh
didn't.
gosh.
So, an average divorce, if everything is agreed from start to finish, could be, 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
If it's not agreed, it could be 2, 3, 4, 5 years.
Ugh.
Wow.
And and here's the other thing too. You've got to you've got to know what you're defining as being in the divorce, because it's one thing to say, if you count from the time you say, honey, I want a divorce, till the day you're done, that's longer than people think it's going to be. But if you're just counting from when did you file in court till when did the court say your divorce was
Yeah.
done,
Yeah.
that's a shorter period of time.
Right.
Well, I go by the first one because that's when
Your
the courage
emotions
starts.
change
That's
and-
when
Yep.
the pain
Yep.
and the hardship. You got to do the hard work
Yes.
at that
And,
point.
and for
Yeah.
most people, that's going to be a couple of years. And
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
nobody wants to know that. Nobody wants to believe it or hear it, but it's true.
No, it's
And
true.
Karen, one of the things that I definitely want to bring up, because you've probably seen it and worked through others with, is that grief that you experience. Whether you were the one to initiate the divorce or not, it doesn't matter.
Nope.
That grief is real.
Oh,
And I went through my second divorce and my dad passing within months of each other. And I will tell you that the grief of my divorce was worse.
wow.
Yeah.
And there's something, because I knew my dad was probably passing, I emotionally planned for it. I don't know that I ever thought I would be divorced twice. And so that really hit me hard when I made that bold decision. It was an obvious decision to make, but I made it. And the grief I felt was so heavy. And I want other people to know that that is something that they have to be prepared to process
Yep.
and work through, not to blow it
Yeah.
off and not to ignore it,
Yeah.
because it's
Feel it.
real. It's the death of what you thought
Yeah.
your life was or should be or you wished it was.
That's exactly what it is.
It's
Yeah.
real.
It's
So
the
what
death
type of
of life.
self-care, what type of things do you tell people to do on that emotional side you're talking about?
First and foremost, get yourself a therapist.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, as a divorce coach, I'm an integral part of the process as well, but I'm not, talking to somebody and saying, talking about their identity and how did you get here and talking about their childhood and their mother. I'm getting them through the process and helping
Right.
them cope with the grief and everything else too. But
Yeah.
you need a good therapist. You need a support system. Right. So whether that's friends or a divorce support group, there's a lot of them online.
Yeah.
There's
Oh,
some,
that's a good idea. Yeah.
but definitely rally the troops, so to speak.
Yep.
Right. And give yourself grace. Like you said it perfectly, Natalie. You can't push aside the emotions. You can't bury them, because then they're going to come out sideways. You
Yeah.
or get stuck in your body, and then you get sick years later and you
Yes.
can't figure out why.
Yes.
So it's about dealing with letting yourself feel bad. We think that there's something
Yeah.
wrong if we feel bad. No, we just feel bad. And you can't feel good until you've let that go through you and say and understand you're grieving a lot more than just the death of a person, right?
Right.
Like to your
Exactly.
dad passing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the death of your marriage, the death of the life you thought you were going to have, the death of your identity as a married person.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, I've been divorced twice. Oh, I'm such a bad person.
Mhm.
Like all these things to process, and the only way out is through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I never think about divorce support groups. There's a ton of
there's a
them.
lot.
Yeah.
That would have been
Yeah.
helpful.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would
I've
have
got-
been helpful.
I've got a Facebook group myself. It's called Thrive Through Uncertainty.
Oh,
And-
nice.
Ooh.
Okay, great. Thrive through uncertainty.
Right?
Okay.
Because
And so,
divorce
Karen-
is nothing if not uncertain.
Yeah.
So, and they can find that on KarenCovey.com.
They can find it on Facebook, Thrive
On
Through
Facebook.
Uncertainty. I'm on Facebook as Karen Covey, but
Okay.
and there are links to the group. The group is free. Anyone can join it
Oh,
as long
wonderful.
as they're like normal and not,
Yeah.
That's great.
Right. How do I kill my husband and bury his body type of people? Yeah.
That's
We
not
don't
the-
want that. Yeah. Yeah.
But and I'm not the only one. There's a lot of divorce groups online, and social media, and but you need that kind of support,
Yeah.
and you need to take the pressure off yourself. Like
Yeah.
people who, like you say, oh yeah, I'm going to be done in a couple of weeks or a month. It's like if that makes you feel better to say that, God bless,
Yeah.
I'll say it. But
Yeah.
when it doesn't, when it takes longer, and it will,
Mhm.
don't beat yourself up. Don't add that pressure on top of everything else. It's going
Right.
to take as long as it's going to take. Period. Full stop.
Right.
Love it.
Well, if I've learned anything in life, there's no normal. There's what works for you and your family, and
and to not judge other people going through their divorce
Yeah,
because you
yeah,
didn't live in their
please, yeah.
shoes. You don't
Yeah.
know what happened in their household.
Oh,
You
no.
weren't part of their conversations for 30 years. You have no idea.
no.
And for all the people who want to be the judge and jury
Yes.
on every divorce that they hear about, I say
Yes.
back off and mind your own business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
Because-
sure.
Right? You just don't know what people go through.
Yeah. We're having a hard enough time as it is.
Every
Yeah.
situation is different.
Yeah. Quick question. Have you watched the show All's Fair?
No.
On Hulu? Kim Kardashian, Glenn Close, Naomi Watts, and they're badass women lawyers. They have women clients, crazy situations, and they
I've checked
take
it out.
care of business. It's a little bit extreme. It's a little fun.
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
a fun one for
I'm
sure.
going to have to
For
check
sure.
it out. For sure.
Yeah. This has been
Very, very good.
awesome. And I don't wish divorce on anyone. However, life can happen and you have to make the best choice for you and your family. And you are courageous when you make that choice, the best decision for you. So I really appreciate having you as a resource. I really wish you could serve everyone all over the nation and Oregon and Washington. I don't know how many of there are around, but wow, this would have been
Yeah.
really.
I work, just so you know, I do. I work with, that's one of the reasons that I wanted to be a coach, because I work with people all over the world.
Oh, you can.
Oh.
Okay,
Oh,
I
yeah,
missed
great.
that.
I do
Okay,
too. I do
so
too.
okay,
Great.
perfect. So you're available.
Yep.
So, and because of COVID, we can work virtually. You can
Yep.
Love
be their
it.
best friend over the screen.
How would
That's great.
you prefer people to get a hold of you if they want to reach out?
The best place is my website, KarenCovey.com. It's KarenCovey.com.
Perfect. Love
Awesome.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you so much for your insights, for the information. I've
it.
learned
Yes.
already some things and
Well,
I
and I
opened.
think it helps to validate other people who may be
Yes.
going through it, of that they're
Yep.
not alone.
They're not alone.
No.
Yeah.
No, they're not alone, and it's a horrible time of life,
Mm-hmm.
but you want to do everything you can to make it a blip on the radar
right.
screen of
That's
your
right.
life, not
right.
a defining moment of your life.
For sure. For sure.
fantastic last
Yeah.
words.
Whoop, whoop.
Yes. That's
Zip it up.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Thank you,
great.
Karen.
Thank you so much. This
Thank
was
you.
absolutely
Yes.
fabulous. We will yeah, we'll get this out. I've been telling people this one's coming. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
So
My
we're
dog's
gonna-
in love with Mindy.
We're going to have a closeout, and everybody have a wonderful rest of the day.
All right, take care.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Karen. Thank
All right,
you.
bye-bye.